Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to Paul Mash TV. I'm Paul Mash, of course, and as you just witnessed, we now have a new theme song, and it was written and sung by a man by the name of Darren Chinke, and you probably remember him on my show here a few months ago, and he gave us his blessing, and his manager did, and we're glad to have a new theme song. So just give us feedback on it. We'd love to hear it, and you can do that many ways. Obviously through email, just go type in pmashtv, all one word, at gmail.com, and it doesn't matter whether you're a fan or whether you're a musician, but if you're a musician and you want me to expose your talent, it's real easy to do, and we'll get you on the show and do that. You can also subscribe on YouTube if you're watching it right now. There's a subscribe button, just click that. And also, if you have Facebook, just go to facebook.com/PaulMashTV and like the page, and feel free to join in the conversations and talk to us there. And on Instagram.com/PaulMashTV official. And we'd love for you to follow us there. And we hope to see you soon on that. Right now, we have a country musician. His name is Wade Oliver. He's from Franklin, Kentucky. And he's a heck of a guy, and you'll see yourself soon enough. So without further ado, we'll get to that. But first, here's a commercial message from ClickJam.
Does anyone know where Lou is? Anyone? Let's jam.
We're fabulous, nobody's doing for the crushed and the broken hearted. We're fabulous, nobody's doing 'cause we can, and we just got started. Come on and bang.
Well, thanks everybody for joining us. It's interview time again, and with me from Franklin, Kentucky, we have Wade Oliver. Thanks for joining us, Wade.
I sure appreciate being here. Glad you invited me to join in.
Yeah. Of course, I always enjoy, promoting the singers and exposing them, and that maybe that'll get more fans for you. So I guess my first question is everybody has their own story. So tell me a little bit about how you became a musician. I mean, did you start when you were real young? Did you fall into it? Or tell me your story. I'd love to hear it.
It's kind of it's a funny story, I guess, a little bit. I kind of accidentally got into it. I guess 5th grade, somewhere in there, at school, and they had come over the intercom system and during math class to see if anybody wanted to come up to the auditorium and take guitar lessons. And so just to get out of math class, I went up there. I didn't even have a guitar at that time. I had never thought about playing a guitar. Got up there, and the guy handed me his guitar and told me to try to pluck a few notes on it. And then he looked at me and said, "Man, I think you're a natural." And so from there, I took a few lessons from him and started playing by ear. And that's just kind of how it kicked off. And played a few talent shows, sang a little bit, and then I guess in my early 20s, I guess when I wrote my first song. So it just kind of progressed from there. But it was kind of accidental just to get out of math class.
Okay. Well, that's a pretty good story, and I'm glad that something positive came out about it because.
But I don't know how to add the track though.
Even though you came from math class, right? Well, at least it taught you to be a good musician, and that's the positive thing about it. So I'm glad that you were able to share your story with us. Well, maybe you could tell us a little bit about your influences. I mean, I'm sure some of the oldies but goodies influenced you. Maybe you could share some of yours with us.
Yeah, definitely. Well, even before, like I said, the math class thing, my dad, when he was probably 18 years old, they used to, on the radio stations, they'd have like contests, and you could call in and answer a question. And the grand prize at this point happened to be like one of those big cabinet style record player radio. And so he won it and won a bunch of albums with it. And I can remember as far back as even 4 and 5 years old, trying to play those albums and listen along to Conway Twitty, Waylon Jennings, Hank Williams, stuff like that, trying to sing along. And it got to be a thing every Friday and Saturday night. My little brother Brian and myself, we'd sit there and listen to Wolfman Jack, and then when that went off, we'd put them old country records on. And as I got to playing guitar, that's how I picked up my style of picking, was listening to those old Johnny Cash and Waylon records. And so when I was about 13, they had those Columbia House things. You could order so many CD cassettes back then, cassettes for 13 cents, and then join the club or somehow. So I ordered like Leonard Skinner, Marshall Tucker Band stuff, and kind of on that. So I'd say, yeah, Waylon, Hank, Leonard Skinner, those were probably some of my bigger influence, and especially Johnny Cash. He's probably one of my biggest heroes, I'd say.
Right. I think what you were referring to is the Columbia Record Club, I do believe, is what they called it.
Right, yeah. I was about 12, 11, 13, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember those. I don't think they do that anymore. Of course, they got so many things you can do on the internet now that pretty much eradicates a lot of that. So,
yeah, well,
but I do remember when I had those things. Yeah.
Yeah, album cassettes. A lot of people won't know what those are anymore.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, you can still find cassettes in some places, but I think that's pretty much a thing of the past. Right. Even tape recorders they don't even make anymore. So.
Right.
Well, I tell you what, are you thinking about having an album, or do you have any albums? I know you probably got a lot of singles, probably, that we can listen to, like on iTunes and whatnot. But
right, yeah. Well, we got the EP out called "You Can't Play Country," which is the song "Poor Man's Prayer," and it's a 6-song EP that we put out. And what we're hoping for is to take that and maybe get noticed, and maybe down the line to get in the studio more and put some CDs out, or even if as a songwriter, pitch some of the songs to somebody that maybe want to pick them up. So just either end of it. I enjoy doing both. Probably I really enjoy songwriting. So if I could get to pitch some of them to somebody, that would be awesome. But
okay.
I like to do so.
Okay, well, that sounds good. And as a matter of fact, you just mentioned the Poor Man's Prayer song, and that's the song we're going to be playing in a minute or so here. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it? Is there a story behind it? Or?
Oh, yeah, definitely. And if I could say those, those are up available on Spotify and iTunes. The Poor Man's Prayer, like as you were talking earlier, my family, grandpa, dad, all through the generations, it's a family brick mason company, and so for years that's what we've done for a living, and it's very hard work. Anybody that's ever done construction and done mason work knows it's very hard work. And so that Poor Man's Prayer just kind of drawed off those life experiences of you get up in the morning, you ain't got time to sit down and watch the news and try to worry about everything that's going on. You trying to get your kids out of school, wife's cooking breakfast, you're trying to grab a cup of coffee, get out the door, get to work on time. And then you get out there, and in our case, being outdoors work, the weather influenced whether we got to work a lot or not. If it was too rainy or too cold, a lot of times we'd miss a lot of days. So it'd be days of just kind of walking the floors, worrying about where the next groceries is going to come from, stuff like that. So it's kind of all come together, and it's just, you just get to that point where like, somebody look down and help me out here. I'm sinking, so it just kind of a desperation point for, I know that anybody that's works for a living faces at different points of times. And so that just kind of drawed off a life experience of hard work and scraping to get by.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, and of course, a lot of people can probably understand that. So that's a pretty good idea behind a song. So, And we'll get to that in just a second, but I just want to let you know I think that's about all that we really need for right now. But we'd love to have you come back on the show sometime. You got something new to plug. I tell all my guests that, and I mean it. So if you ever want to do that, just let me know, and I'll have you back on the second time or something.
Sure, sounds great, man. I enjoy it. Thank you.
Okay. Well, here's Poor Man's Prayer right here on Paul Mash TV. Don't go away.
We ain't got time to think about Wall Street. We're all too busy trying to make ends meet. Up every morning when the sun comes up, coffee leaking from a cheap paper cup. Working 2 jobs to get along, and teaching our kids what's right and what's wrong. The price of gas gets higher every day, but there ain't nothing high about minimum wage. We all have kin that's fought in that war, and taxes so high we can't pay no more. Bill collectors call every day. They say send a check, but there ain't no way. In a poor man's world, the only chance of survival is faith in the Lord, to read His Bible. A shot of Jim Beam helps to ease the pain, when every time he looks up, it looks like rain. Heaven, look down, give me the strength to face another day in the land of the free. Thank you for my job, my kids and my wife. And if I die, give them all a better life. That's a poor man's prayer. Of the football team, grew up believing in the American dream. Somewhere down the line the dream went south. Now he fights to keep food and his little girl smiling. Heaven only knows the sacrifices made by a mama whose man has ran away. She finds the strength in her little boy's eyes to face the fear she feels inside. Heaven, look down, give me the strength to face another day in the land of the free. Thank you for my job, my kids and my wife. And if I die, give them all a better life. Yeah, that's a poor